Hello, welcome to the Learn English Lab.
Hi there.
Today, we're diving deep into a fascinating corner of advanced English vocabulary, specifically, over 140 words at the C1 level, all beginning with the letter S.
That's a lot of S's.
It is, and our mission isn't just to, read out definitions. We really want to get under the skin of these words.
Right. Explore the nuances, how they're actually used in different situations, what makes them tick.
Exactly. Think of it as helping you boost your English communication from, good to really great. Let's get started.
Sounds good. And the power of these words often lies in their precision, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely.
Take sacred, for instance. It usually means something deeply revered, often with a religious connection, a sacred temple.
The obvious example.
But what's interesting is how we kind of stretch that meaning, that sense of profound respect, to other things.
Like?
Well, we might talk about the sacred bond between a parent and child. Or maybe an indigenous community considers a forest sacred.
Okay. So there's this underlying idea of something sort of untouchable. Something that deserves our highest respect.
That's it. It's not just about religious worship. It's about what we hold as fundamentally important, maybe even inviolable.
That's a great way to put it. Inviolable. Okay, shifting gears slightly. Let's look at sacrifice. This can be a noun or a verb.
Yep. And at its heart is the idea of giving up something valuable.
Yeah.
Usually for a bigger reason. Often sounds quite selfless.
Yeah, it often does. We see the obvious examples, like you mentioned earlier, a soldier's sacrifice for their country.
Right. But think about the more personal sacrifices too, maybe putting aside career goals to care for family.
That's a big one for many people.
Definitely. And it's not always these huge gestures. Sometimes it's about sacrificing, say, a comfortable routine for a bigger purpose, or maybe deciding not to sacrifice your principles, even when it's really difficult.
Right. It's about that conscious decision, isn't it? To let go of something you value for something you see as more important.
Spot on.
Okay, now let's move on to saint. We usually think of this in a religious context, someone recognized for exceptional holiness, like Saint Francis of Assisi.
Indeed, that's the primary meaning. But the beauty of language is how words evolve, right? We often use saint informally, to describe someone who is just extraordinarily kind or patient.
Oh yeah, like my neighbor is an absolute saint for always helping me with my garden.
Exactly. It captures that sense of exceptional goodness, even without the direct religious link. Though, of course, the primary meaning is still strong, like in a cathedral dedicated to St. Peter or someone.
It's that informal stretch that tells you a lot about the qualities we admire in everyday life. Okay, next up, sake. You usually hear this in the phrase, for the sake of. What's the core idea here?
At its root, sake points to the purpose, the benefit, or the interest behind an action. It often implies a priority, like what's most important in that situation.
We use it all the time, maybe without thinking. For the sake of clarity, let's go over this again.
Or someone might move house for the sake of their mental health.
And then there are those idiomatic uses, like, oh, for heaven's sake, which expresses frustration or maybe surprise.
Absolutely. It just shows how one little word can carry different shades of meaning depending on how it's used.
It really does. Okay, then there's sanction. This one's interesting because it has that dual meaning.
It really does. As a noun, it can mean official permission, approval.
The green light.
Right. But it can also mean a penalty or punishment, like economic sanctions.
And the verb is the same, right? It can mean to authorize or to penalize.
Exactly, which means context is absolutely crucial.
So if a project needs the sanction of the board, that's approval. But if a government imposes sanctions on another country, that's definitely punitive. It's like two sides of the same coin.
It is. And getting that distinction right is key for understanding. Now, what about, say, obvious verb, but as a noun?
Like having influence, having a voice.
Precisely. Think about employees wanting a say in how their work is organized. It's about having input, wanting their opinions to count.
And phrases like, that is to say, which we use to clarify or rephrase something.
Yeah, a small word, but surprisingly versatile.
Okay. How about scattered as an adjective?
Well, it paints a picture of things spread out irregularly. You might imagine scattered leaves after a windy day.
Right. A lack of order.
But it can also describe something less tangible, like you might have scattered thoughts if you're finding it hard to concentrate.
So literal, like scattered toys on the floor, or figurative, like a team with scattered efforts that aren't really achieving much.
Exactly. Both work.
Now, what about scope?
Scope refers to the extent or range of something sort of the boundaries it operates within.
Often sounds quite formal.
It often does, yeah, like defining the scope of a project or the scope of an investigation.
So the scope of our research is limited to something specific.
Right. Or you could say there's still plenty of scope for improvement, meaning there's potential within those limits. It defines what's included and, just as importantly, what's not.
Got it. Okay, screw. Literally a fastener, but it has those informal uses too.
Oh, definitely. And they can be quite negative.
Like screwing up a project, meaning ruining it.
Yeah, or feeling screwed over, like you've been treated unfairly. It's one where you really need to be mindful of the context and who you're talking to.
Good point. Very informal. Okay, scrutiny.
Scrutiny denotes a close, critical examination. It implies a very thorough inspection, often with a questioning, maybe even skeptical eye.
You hear about politicians' finances coming under intense scrutiny, perhaps.
Exactly. Or a scientific report being subjected to rigorous scrutiny before publication. It definitely has a formal feel, suggesting a serious, detailed investigation.
Okay. Then seal, noun and verb again.
Right. As a noun, it can be the thing that closes or secures something, like an old-fashioned wax seal on a letter.
Or an official mark, like a seal of approval.
And as a verb, it means to close securely, or maybe to finalize something definitively.
You might see the official seal on a certificate, or you physically seal an envelope.
And figuratively, you can seal a deal with a handshake, meaning it's done, it's finalized.
Right. Okay, secondly. Pretty straightforward, this one.
Yes, just an adverb to introduce the second point in a list or argument. Really useful for structure, especially in more formal speaking or writing.
Helps people follow along. Firstly, we did X. Secondly, we considered Y. Very clear. After that, secular. What does that signal?
Secular describes things that have no connection to religious or spiritual matters. It's about the worldly rather than the sacred.
So a secular government is separate from religious bodies.
Correct. And you can have secular music, secular education. It's an important distinction in many societies.
It really is. Okay, seemingly.
Ah, seemingly.
What?
An adverb suggesting something appears to be a certain way, but maybe there's a different reality underneath. It introduces doubt, or at least a superficial impression.
Like, the seemingly calm surface of the water hid strong currents.
Perfect example. Or, he was seemingly unfazed by the criticism, but you knew it bothered him. It lets you talk about appearances without confirming the underlying truth.
Useful. Okay, segment. Noun and verb again.
Yes, noun is just a part or section of something, like a segment of an orange or a market segment in business.
And the verb.
Just means to divide something into those parts or segments.
So a company might segment its customer base for targeted ads, or you might segment a presentation into different parts, breaking things down.
Exactly. All about breaking things down into manageable pieces.
Next, seize. Sounds quite forceful.
It does. It implies taking hold of something suddenly, maybe forcefully. Or it can mean to capture or confiscate something. There's a sense of immediacy.
Like, she seized the opportunity to speak up.
Or the authorities seized the illegal shipment, grasping something quickly, decisively.
Okay, seldom.
Seldom's basically a more formal way of saying rarely or not often. Has a slightly more, perhaps, literary feel.
So instead of, we rarely see that, you might say, we seldom encounter such generosity. Adds a touch of sophistication.
You could say that, yeah. It signals infrequency.
Okay. Selective.
Being selective means being careful and discriminating in your choices. Often implies having high standards.
Like a university having a highly selective admissions process.
Exactly. Or someone might be selective about the company they keep. It suggests a deliberate, thoughtful process of choosing, not just accepting anything.
Right, based on certain criteria. Okay, what about sensation?
Sensation could be a physical feeling from stimuli, like the sensation of warmth from the sun.
Or tingling.
Right. But it can also describe a widespread feeling of excitement or interest, like a new band becoming an overnight sensation.
So it bridges the physical feeling and the more abstract public reaction.
Precisely. You might have a burning sensation, or a news story might cause a sensation. It highlights feelings and reactions, both personal and public.
Interesting. Now, sensitivity.
Sensitivity is the quality of being sensitive, which can mean being responsive to physical things or emotions, or maybe needing to handle a situation carefully.
So it can be positive, like showing empathy. Her sensitivity to others' needs makes her a great friend.
Yes, but it can also be about being easily affected, maybe easily offended, or just needing care. Handle this topic with sensitivity. It's about awareness and responsiveness.
Got it. Okay, sentiment. How's that different from just feeling?
Sentiment is often a feeling, opinion, or attitude that's influenced by emotion. It can be personal, like a sentiment of nostalgia, or it can be collective, like public sentiment, towards a new policy. It often captures those underlying feelings shaping thoughts and opinions.
Okay, so public sentiment on the issue is divided, or a poem expressing sentiments of loss.
Exactly.
Right, separation.
The act of dividing or moving apart, or just the state of being apart, can be physical distance separation of countries.
Or a couple separating.
Or more abstract, like the separation of powers in government or separating recyclables. It's about becoming distinct or divided.
Makes sense. Serial.
As an adjective, it means arranged in a sequence, like serial numbers on currency.
Or serial offenders.
Right. And as a noun, it often refers to a story or show released in parts, like a TV serial or a podcast serial, perhaps.
Ah, indeed. Keeps you coming back for the next installment.
Exactly.
Settlement. Couple of meanings here.
Yes. One is an agreement that resolves a dispute, often a legal one, an out-of-court settlement.
Okay.
And the other is a place where people establish a community. Think historically pioneers forming settlements.
So conflict resolution and community building. Got it. How about setup?
Setup is usually about the way something is organized or arranged, the configuration.
Like your computer setup or the setup of a stage for a play.
Right. But informally, it can also imply a trick or a deception.
Ah, like I think it was a setup, meaning you suspect you were deliberately tricked.
Exactly. You need context for that one too.
Okay. Sexuality.
A complex term. It refers to the expression of sexual orientation, identity, behavior. It encompasses a lot and requires sensitivity.
Sure. We might discuss themes of sexuality in film or literature, or talk about creating open conversations around sexuality. It's about how people experience and express that side of themselves.
Well put.
Shareholder. Business term.
Key business term, yes. A shareholder is simply someone who owns shares stock in a company.
Yeah.
Makes them a part owner.
So the shareholders voted on the proposal. Or as a major shareholder, they have a lot of influence. Ownership stake.
Precisely.
Shatter, very evocative verb.
It is. Means to break suddenly into many pieces, like glass shattering.
Very visual.
But we use it figuratively too, right?
Right.
To describe something being completely destroyed or devastated.
Yeah.
Like shattered hopes or shattered confidence.
So a dropped glass can shatter, but bad news can also shatter someone's world. That sense of sudden, violent breaking.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, shed, another noun verb.
Right. As a noun, it's that small building, usually for storage, a garden shed, a tool shed.
Simple enough. And the verb.
To cast off or remove something, like a snake shedding its skin, or trees shedding leaves in autumn.
Can it be emotional?
Absolutely. People shed tears of joy, tears of sadness. So literal and emotional casting off.
Okay. Sheer. This one has a few meanings, doesn't it?
It does. It can mean absolute or utter, used for emphasis. It was sheer luck that we found it.
Okay, like pure.
Kind of. It can also describe something very steep, like a sheer cliff face.
Dangerous drop.
And it can refer to fabric that's very thin and transparent, like sheer curtains or stockings.
So sheer luck, sheer drop, sheer fabric, quite versatile.
Very versatile adjective.
Shipping. Seems obvious, but any catches?
Well, the primary meaning is straightforward, transporting goods.
Yeah.
The company offers free shipping.
Standard.
But in online slang, particularly among fans of fiction or TV shows, shipping means something totally different.
Oh.
It's when fans express their hope for or support of a romantic relationship between two characters. They ship them.
Right, I've seen that. So free shipping from a store versus fans shipping characters online. Very different contexts.
Worlds apart. Good to be aware of both.
Definitely. Okay, shoot.
Verb can mean firing a weapon, obviously.
Right.
But also taking a photograph or filming something.
The director's going to shoot the next scene.
Right. Or it can mean moving very rapidly. He shot past me on his bicycle.
And the noun.
Often refers to a photography session, a photo shoot.
So range of actions involving projection or speed.
Okay.
Shrink.
Verb. Become smaller. Like your favorite jumper shrinking in the wash.
The worst.
Yeah. And as a noun, it's an informal, sometimes slightly dated term for a psychiatrist or therapist.
Oh, right. Like saying someone is seeing a shrink. Good to know both the literal and that colloquial use. Shrug, the gesture.
Exactly. Raising and lowering your shoulders to show indifference, uncertainty, maybe resignation. The verb is the action, the noun is the gesture itself. Classic nonverbal communication.
He just shrugged when I asked. Or Her only answer was a shrug. Says a lot without words.
It really does.
Sigh. Another expressive sound.
Yeah, exhaling audibly. Usually expresses relief or maybe disappointment, sadness, weariness. The verb is the action. The noun is the sound. Often signals a release of tension.
She sighed with relief when the exam was over. Or he let out a long sigh of frustration. Very telling.
Okay, simulate.
Imitate or replicate something.
Yes, exactly. Replicating conditions, often for testing or training. Think of a flight simulator for pilots.
Or scientists might simulate climate change scenarios on a computer.
Perfect. It's about creating a realistic imitation, usually in a controlled way.
And simulation is just the noun form, the model or the act itself.
That's right. A computer simulation, a medical simulation.
Yeah.
Valuable tools in many fields because you can test things without real-world risks.
Makes sense. Simultaneously.
Adverb meaning happening at the exact same time. Concurrently.
The phone rang and the doorbell went simultaneously. Or she was trying to cook and talk on the phone simultaneously. Stresses that overlap.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Emphasizes the concurrency.
Sin. Religious context, usually.
Primarily, yes. An immoral act against divine law. The noun is the act. The verb is committing it.
Like lying is considered a sin.
Right. But it can be used more generally sometimes to describe a serious wrongdoing or transgression, even outside a strict religious framework. Like feeling you sinned by betraying a trust carries moral weight.
Okay. Situated. Sounds a bit formal.
It often is. It just means located or placed in a particular position or context, used for geographical descriptions.
The hotel is beautifully situated overlooking the lake.
Exactly. Or more abstractly, the company is well situated to take advantage of the new market. Gives a clear sense of position.
Got it. Skeptical or skeptical depending on spelling.
Yes. Describes having a doubtful attitude, not being easily convinced, questioning the truth or validity of something.
I remain skeptical about his promises, or scientists being skeptical of the initial results until more proof comes in.
Right. It suggests a healthy sense of inquiry, not just accepting things blindly.
Okay. Sketch. Noun and verb.
Yep. Noun is a rough drawing or outline. Verb is to create that kind of quick drawing, useful for visual thinking and planning.
An artist doing a quick sketch, or someone might sketch out their ideas before writing properly, capturing the essence quickly.
Exactly.
Skip. Jump lightly.
That's one meaning, yeah. Like children skipping down the path. Playful movement.
But it also means to omit something.
Right. To miss something out deliberately or accidentally. You might skip a boring chapter in a book or skip breakfast if you're late.
So light movement or deliberate omission.
Yeah.
Okay, slam.
Verb means to shut or hit something with force, usually making a loud noise.
Like slamming a door in anger.
Yeah, or slamming on the brakes in a car. The noun is that forceful action or the sound it produces, conveys impact.
Definitely sounds forceful. Slap.
Verb, hit quickly with an open hand. Noun is the action or the sound.
Can be playful, maybe. She slapped his arm playfully.
Could be. But it can also be aggressive. And figuratively, an insult or rejection can feel like a slap in the face. Quick, open-handed impact, literal or metaphorical.
Understood. Slash. Sounds violent.
Often is. Verb means to cut violently with something sharp, like a knife or sword, making a long cut.
Like slashing through jungle vines.
Right. But it's also used very commonly for making big price reductions. Stores slash prices during a sale.
Ah, okay. Dramatic price cutting. And the noun is the cut itself.
Yes, a long cut, or the action of cutting.
Yeah.
A sweeping, forceful cut.
Okay. Slavery, a very serious term.
Extremely serious. The state of being enslaved, owning people as property, used in historical, social, ethical contexts. Discussing the history of slavery, or modern forms like human trafficking, represents profound injustice.
Absolutely. Needs to be used appropriately. Slot.
Now, a narrow opening, like a coin slot in a machine, or a specific position or time allocation, like a time slot for an appointment.
Can I book a 10 a.m. slot?
Right. And the verb is just to place something into that slot or position, slot the card into the reader, fitting something into a designated space or time.
Okay. Smash. Similar to shatter.
Similar, yes.
Yeah.
Verb, break something violently into pieces, smashing window.
Sounds forceful.
It is. As a noun, it can be that forceful impact, or
right.
It can mean a great success, especially in entertainment.
Like a smash hit song or movie.
Exactly. So, forceful breaking or overwhelming success.
Interesting dual use there. Snap.
Verb, break, suddenly, often with a sharp noise, like a dry twig snapping underfoot. Or it can mean to speak sharply or irritably to someone. Don't snap at me.
Right. And then noun is the break or the sound.
Yes, the snap of a twig,
Right.
or even the quick photograph snapshot, sudden break or sharp reaction.
Okay. Soak.
Verb. Make something thoroughly wet by immersing it, like soaking dirty pans before washing. Or it can mean to absorb something literally or figuratively, getting soaked in the rain, or soaking up the atmosphere at a festival.
So thorough absorption of liquid or experience. Got it. Soar.
Lovely verb. Means to fly or rise high in the air, often gracefully, like an eagle soaring.
Nice image.
Or it can mean to increase rapidly. Prices can soar, spirits can soar. Suggests a significant, often positive upward movement.
Okay. Socialist. Political term.
Yes. Adjective relates to socialism, the political and economic theory advocating social ownership or control of the means of production. Noun is someone who supports or advocates socialism. Specific political meaning.
So, discussing socialist ideas or someone identifying as a socialist needs care in usage.
Indeed.
Soul, S-O-L-E.
Right. Adjective means only or single. Emphasizes there's no other. The sole survivor. My sole reason for going.
Just one.
Exactly. And the noun is the underside of your foot or the bottom of a shoe.
Right. The sole of my shoe is worn out. The adjective is probably more common in C1 context, though.
I'd say so, yes. Use for emphasis.
And solely, just the adverb form.
Yes, meaning only or exclusively, without anyone or anything else being involved. Reinforces that singularity.
The decision was based solely on the facts. She was chosen solely for her skills, leaves no room for other factors.
Exactly.
Solidarity.
Unity or agreement of feeling or action, especially among individuals with a common interest. Mutual support within a group, often used in social or political contexts.
Like workers showing solidarity during a strike.
Yes, or a community expressing solidarity with victims of a natural disaster.
Yeah.
It's about that feeling of unity, shared purpose, sticking together.
Powerful concept. Solo.
Doing something alone can be an adjective or adverb. A solo flight, playing a guitar solo, working solo, all about being independent or performing by oneself.
Simple enough. Sophomore.
Yeah.
American term.
Primarily, yes. A student in their second year of high school or university in the U.S. system.
Okay.
It can sometimes be used more broadly to refer to a second effort, like a band's sophomore album, their second one, marks that second stage.
Got it. Sound. Very common word, but multiple meanings.
Very versatile. As an adjective, it can mean healthy, in good condition, a sound mind and a sound body. Or reliable, logical sound advice, sound reasoning.
Okay.
As a noun, of course, is what we hear, the sound of music, the sound of the sea. And as a verb, it can mean to produce a sound, the alarm sounded, or to seem a certain way based on description. That sounds like a great idea.
Covers a lot. Physical well-being, hearing, impressions.
Really does.
Sovereignty. Political concept again.
Yes, fundamental one. Supreme power or authority of a state to govern itself or another state. The right to self-determination without external interference.
So nations defending their sovereignty. Debates about national sovereignty versus international agreements. Ultimate self-governing power.
That's the core idea.
Spam. We all know this one.
Unfortunately, yes. Unwanted, unsolicited digital messages, especially email, sent out in bulk.
Junk mail, basically.
Pretty much. And the verb is just the act of sending it. Stop spamming me. A digital nuisance.
Indeed. Okay, span. Noun and verb.
Noun is the extent, range, or duration of something. The span of a bridge, a lifespan, an attention span.
Okay, the distance or time it covers.
Right. And the verb means to extend across that distance or time. The bridge spans the river. Her career spanned 50 years. It's about the reach or duration.
Got it. Spark.
Noun. A small fiery particle, like from a fire or grinding metal. Or, metaphorically, a small trace or beginning of something, a spark of hope, a spark of interest.
A little flicker.
Exactly. And the verb means to ignite something, literally with a spark, or figuratively to trigger or cause something. His comment sparked an argument, that initial small point leading to something bigger.
Makes sense. Specialized or specialized.
Adjective describing something designed, trained, or adapted for a specific purpose or area of knowledge, implies focus and expertise.
Specialized tools. A highly specialized field of medicine. Focus on a particular skill or area.
Precisely.
Specification. Sounds technical.
It often is. A detailed description of the design, materials, dimensions, standards, etc. of something to be built or produced. Crucial in engineering, manufacturing, construction.
So the building specifications tell you exactly what materials to use. or a product failing to meet the required specifications, those precise details.
Exactly. The nitty-gritty details.
Awesome.
An individual animal, plant, piece of mineral, etc., used as an example of its species or type for scientific study or display, or a sample for medical testing.
Like a butterfly specimen in a museum. Or a doctor taking a blood specimen, a representative example for examination.
That's it.
Spectacle can be good or bad.
It can. It can refer to a visually striking performance or display, something impressive to look at. The opening ceremony was a real spectacle.
Okay, the positive side.
But it can also mean a public scene or display, especially one that is embarrassing or ridiculous.
Yeah.
He made a spectacle of himself at the party.
Ah, right. So impressive sight or embarrassing public display, context is key again.
Always.
Spectrum.
A range of different positions, opinions, colors, etc., between two extreme points. We talk about the political spectrum, the autism spectrum, the light spectrum.
So a wide spectrum of views were expressed, covers that whole range.
Exactly. The full range of variations.
Spell, verb and noun with different meanings.
Yes. Verb. Write or name the letters that form a word in order. Could you spell your name?
Standard.
Or it can mean to signify or indicate a future outcome, often a bad one. This drought could spell disaster for farmers.
Okay, like mean.
Sort of. And the noun can be a short period of time. A spell of warm weather, working for a spell, or a magical charm or incantation. The witch cast a spell. So linguistic, predictive, time period, and magical meanings.
What invex? Sphere.
Geometrically, a round, solid figure like a ball, the Earth is roughly a sphere.
Right.
But metaphorically, it refers to an area of activity, interest, or influence. Someone's sphere of influence, the public sphere, the private sphere, abstract domains.
Okay, physical shape and area of influence.
Verb, turn or revolve rapidly, like a wheel spinning, but also to present information or a situation in a particular way, especially a favorable one, often seen as biased.
Ah, political spin. The politician tried to spin the bad news.
Exactly. The noun can be the rotation, or that biased interpretation, putting a positive spin on it. Physical rotation and persuasive framing.
Got it. Spine.
Anatomically, the backbone.
Yep.
Figuratively, it can refer to the central support or structure of something, or courage and determination showing some spine.
Standing up for yourself.
Right. And also the back edge of a book where the pages are joined, the title is on the spine. Physical structure, inner strength, book part.
Lots packed in there. Spotlight.
Noun. A lamp projecting a narrow, intense beam of light directly onto a place or person. Or, metaphorically, intense public attention or notice.
The singer stood in the spotlight or someone being in the media spotlight.
Right. And the verb means to illuminate with a spotlight or to highlight or draw particular attention to something. The report spotlights the key issues, bringing something into focus.
Okay. Spouse.
A gender-neutral term for a husband or wife. Formal and inclusive.
Useful on forms. Please provide your spouse's details. Spy. Noun and verb.
Noun. A person who secretly collects and reports information on an enemy or competitor. Verb. The act of doing that. Clandestine information gathering.
James Bond is a famous fictional spy. Someone caught spying. Pretty clear. Squad.
A small group of people organized for a particular task or activity, often soldiers, police, or sports players. Can also be used informally for a close group of friends.
The bomb squad. The basketball squad. Or hanging out with my squad implies a team working together.
Usually, yeah. A close-knit group.
Squeeze.
Verb. Firmly press something, typically with one's fingers. Squeezing a lemon, squeezing someone's hand.
Okay.
Also means to manage to get into or through a narrow space. Squeezing onto the bus. Noun can be the act of squeezing or a difficult situation, especially financial. Being in a tight squeeze financially.
Compression or pressure, physical or metaphorical.
Okay.
Stab.
Verb.
Okay.
Thrust a knife or other pointed weapon into someone or something. Noun. The act, or a sudden sharp feeling or pain.
A violent act. He was stabbed. Or figuratively.
Yes, figuratively too. A stab of guilt, a stab of pain, a sharp, piercing action or feeling, literal or emotional. Got it. Stability. The state of being stable. Resistance to change, deterioration, or displacement. Firmness. Can be physical stability, like a table, emotional stability, political stability, economic stability.
Seeking financial stability, a structure lacking stability, that sense of steadiness, security, reliability.
That's it.
And stabilize, just the verb form.
Yes, to make or become stable, efforts to stabilize the currency. Doctors working to stabilize a patient's condition. Bringing something to or back to a steady state.
Makes sense. Stake, S-T-A-K-E.
Right. Noun can be a share or interest in a business, scheme, or enterprise, having a stake in the company's success.
Okay, like an investment or involvement.
Yes. Or it can be a strong wooden or metal post with a point at one end, driven into the ground, like marking boundaries or supporting a plant.
Right, two different things. And the verb?
Can mean to risk something, usually money, on the results of a game or event, staking money on a horse, or figuratively staking your reputation on something succeeding. Can also mean to support with stakes, like a plant.
Okay, covers ownership, physical support, and risk. Standing.
Noun, position, status, or reputation in society or a profession, her standing in the community.
Like social status.
Also refers to the duration something has existed. An agreement of long standing. As an adjective, it can mean permanent, a standing committee, or upright, a standing position.
Social status, duration, permanent, upright. Okay, stark.
Adjective meaning severe or bare in appearance or outline. The stark beauty of the desert, or unpleasantly or sharply clear, impossible to avoid. The stark reality of poverty. Often implies a lack of decoration or comfort, or a harsh contrast.
Stark white walls, a stark warning, severity and clarity.
Statistical.
Relating to statistics.
Exactly. Relating to or based on statistics, involving numerical data analysis, statistical evidence, statistical probability, all about the numbers.
Let's see, steer.
Verb. Guide or control the movement of a vehicle, vessel, or aircraft. Steering a car, steering a ship.
Right.
Also means to guide the course of action or conversation. Steering the discussion towards a solution. Controlling direction. Noun is a young male cow, but the verb is more common.
Got it. Guiding direction, stem.
Verb can mean to originate in or be caused by. Problems stemming from lack of communication.
Like arise from.
Yes. Or it can mean to stop or restrict the flow of something, especially liquid. Stemming the bleeding.
Okay, origin or stopping. And the noun.
The main body or stalk of a plant or shrub, or the stalk supporting a fruit, flower, or leaf. The stem of a flower.
Right, stereotype.
Noun. A widely held but fixed and oversimplified image or idea of a particular type of person or thing, often inaccurate and potentially harmful.
The stereotype of the mad scientist.
Exactly. And the verb is to view or represent someone or something as a stereotype. We shouldn't stereotype entire groups of people, assigning those fixed ideas unfairly.
Important to avoid. Okay, stimulus.
Something that incites activity or energy in someone or something, a spur or incentive.
Like an economic stimulus package to boost the economy.
Yes. Or a physical stimulus, like a bright light causing you to blink. Anything that prompts a response or reaction.
Trigger. Okay, stir.
Verb. Move a spoon or implement round and round in a liquid or other substance to mix it thoroughly. Stirring coffee.
Basic meaning.
Also means to move slightly or begin to be active. Nobody stirred. Or crucially, to arouse strong feelings in someone, move or excite. A story that stirred my emotions.
Provoke emotion. And the noun.
A state of excitement, commotion, or fuss. The news caused quite a stir. Physical mixing, slight movement, emotional arousal, commotion.
Okay, storage.
The action or method of storing something for future use, or the space available for storing things.
Cloud storage for data. Putting furniture into storage, keeping things safe for later.
Exactly.
Straightforward.
Adjective meaning uncomplicated and easy to do or understand, or of a person, honest and frank.
Straightforward instructions. He gave a straightforward answer. Lack of complexity or deception. Clear and simple.
Yes.
Strain, noun and verb.
Noun can be a force tending to pull or stretch something to an extreme or damaging degree. Stress or tension. The strain on the ropes, or mental emotional stress, working under great strain.
Okay, pressure.
Noun can also be a particular type or breed of plant, animal, or microorganism. A new strain of virus.
Right, like a variety. And the verb.
To make an unusually great effort, straining to lift the weight, or to injure a part of the body through overuse or excessive exertion, straining a muscle.
So pressure, variety, effort, injury. Quite a range.
It is.
Strand.
Noun. A single thin length of thread, wire, hair, etc. A strand of DNA. Or, less commonly used now, the shore of a sea, lake, or large river.
Okay, a thread. And the verb.
To leave someone without the means to move from somewhere often implies being helpless or abandoned.
Like being stranded on a desert island, or stranded at the airport due to canceled flights. Left isolated and unable to leave.
Precisely.
Strategic.
Adjective relating to the identification of long-term or overall aims and interests, and the means of achieving them. Carefully designed or planned to serve a particular purpose.
A strategic withdrawal. strategic planning, about the big picture and long-term goals.
Yes, very much about careful, purposeful planning.
Strip, noun and verb.
Noun, a long, narrow piece of cloth, paper, plastic, or some other material. A strip of land.
Like a band or piece. Verb.
Remove all coverings from something. Stripping wallpaper. Or remove clothes. Or take away property or honors. Stripped of his title. Covers narrow pieces and removal.
Okay. Strive.
Verb meaning to make great efforts to achieve or obtain something. Often implies difficulty or struggle.
Striving for excellence. Striving to overcome obstacles. Putting in significant effort towards a goal.
Exactly. Strong sense of effort.
Structure.
Relating to the way in which the parts of something are arranged or put together. Relating to structure.
Structural problems in a building. Structural unemployment in economics. About the framework or underlying organization.
Yes, the fundamental makeup.
Stumble.
Trip, or momentarily lose one's balance, almost fall. Stumbling over a tree root.
Physical misstep.
Also means to make a mistake or repeated mistakes in speaking or performing. Stumbling over his words. Noun is the act of stumbling. Physical or verbal missteps.
Okay. Stun.
Verb meaning to knock unconscious or into a dazed or semi-conscious state. Or, more commonly used figuratively, to astonish or shock someone so much that they are temporarily unable to react.
Stunned into silence by the news. A taser can stun someone.
Right.
That's sudden overwhelming shock or incapacitation.
Right.
Submission. Two meanings.
Yes. One is the action or fact of accepting or yielding to a superior force or to the will or authority of another person. Obedience, surrender.
His submission to the king's demands.
Right. The other is the action of presenting a proposal, application, or other document for consideration or judgment.
Like a grant submission or submitting an assignment, yielding authority, or handing something in for review.
Correct.
To describe it simply, a person who pays to receive or access a service regularly, like a magazine, newspaper, streaming service, or software.
YouTube channel subscribers. Rewarding loyal subscribers. Ongoing paid access. And subscription is the arrangement itself.
Yes, the agreement to receive something regularly by paying in advance. Renewing a subscription. A monthly subscription fee. The ongoing deal.
Got it. Subsidy.
A sum of money granted by the state or a public body to help an industry or business keep the price of a commodity or service low, or to support a cause deemed beneficial. Financial aid.
Agricultural subsidies.
Yeah.
Subsidies for green energy, financial assistance from government or similar bodies.
Exactly.
Substantial.
Adjective meaning of considerable importance, size, or worth. Large in amount or degree.
A substantial amount of money.
Yeah.
Substantial progress. This signifies something significant, not minor.
Right. Solid, considerable.
And substantially.
Adverb form. Yes, meaning to a great extent, considerably. Things have improved substantially. Their views differ substantially. Indicates a significant degree of change or difference.
Correct.
Substitute, noun and verb.
Noun is a person or thing acting or serving in place of another. A replacement. Verb is to use or add in place of.
A substitute teacher. Can I substitute oil for butter in this recipe? Using something else instead.
Precisely.
And substitution is the act.
Yes, the action of replacing someone or something with another. The coach made a substitution. Ingredient substitution is possible. The process of replacement. Makes sense. Subtle. S-U-B-T-L-E.
Tricky pronunciation. Adjective meaning, especially of a change or distinction, so delicate or precise as to be difficult to analyze or describe, not obvious, understated.
A subtle difference in meaning. Subtle hints. Subtle flavors. Delicate, not immediately apparent.
Right, needs careful attention.
Suburban.
Relating to or characteristic of a suburb, the residential area on the outskirts of a city.
Suburban sprawl. Living a quiet suburban life. Describes those areas around cities. Succession. Noun. A number of people or things sharing a specified characteristic and following one after the other. A sequence. A succession of visitors.
Okay, like a series.
Also, crucially, the action or process of inheriting a title, office, property, etc. The line of succession to the throne. Who comes next in inheriting power or position?
Right. Sequence or inheritance. Successive.
Adjective meaning following one another or following others in order. Consecutive.
5 successive days of sunshine. Successive governments happening one after the other in sequence.
Exactly.
Successor.
A person or thing that succeeds another comes after and takes their place.
The CEO named her successor. This model is the successor to the previous version. Who or what follows?
Right.
Suck, Literal meaning.
Draw something, especially liquid, into the mouth by contracting the lip muscles, or draw in a liquid or air by suction. A baby sucking milk. A vacuum cleaner sucks up dust.
Okay, and the informal meaning.
Very informal and negative. Means something is very bad, unpleasant, or contemptible. That exam really sucked. Needs very careful, informal context.
Definitely one to use cautiously. Okay, sue.
Verb. Institute legal proceedings against a person or institution, typically for redress or compensation, to take someone to court.
They threaten to sue for damages. You can be sued for breach of contract, initiating that legal action.
Yes.
Suicide, sensitive topic.
Very. The act of intentionally causing one's own death needs to be discussed with care and sensitivity. Used when talking about the act itself, prevention efforts, mental health impacts.
Understood. Handled with care. Suite. S-U-I-T-E.
Pronounced suite. A set of rooms designated for one person's or family's use or for a particular purpose, like a hotel suite.
Oh, okay.
Also a set of instrumental compositions originally in dance form, or a set of related software programs sold as a package. A software suite.
Yeah.
A collection of related items.
Right, like a hotel room set or software set. Summit.
Noun.
Yeah.
The highest point of a hill or mountain, reaching the summit.
The peak.
Also, a meeting between heads of government or other high-level leaders.
Yeah.
An international climate summit. The highest point physically, or a top-level meeting.
Okay. Superb.
Adjective meaning excellent, impressively splendid, very high quality.
A superb meal. Her performance was superb. Just means really, really good.
Exactly. High praise.
Superintendent. Sounds important.
It usually is. A person who manages or supervises an organization or activity, like a school superintendent, head of a school district in the U.S., or a building superintendent manager.
Yeah.
A high-ranking manager or overseer.
Okay. Superior.
Adjective meaning higher in rank, status, or quality.
Yeah.
Superior craftsmanship. Or noun, a person of higher rank or status, reporting to your superior, indicates a higher level.
Supervise.
Verb meaning to observe and direct the execution of a task or activity. Oversee, manage.
Supervising employees. Supervising an exam. Directing and overseeing.
Yes.
And supervision is the act.
Correct. The action of supervising someone or something.
Yeah.
Working under close supervision. Parental supervision. The process of oversee.
And supervisor is the person.
Yes. The person who supervises. My immediate supervisor. The person in charge of overseeing.
Got it. Supplement. Noun and verb.
Noun. Something that completes or enhances something else when added to it, like a dietary supplement, vitamins, or newspaper supplement. Verb, to add an extra element or amount to.
Supplementing your diet with vitamins. Supplementing your income with part-time work. Adding to or enhancing.
Exactly.
Supportive.
Adjective meaning providing encouragement or emotional help.
Helpful.
Supportive colleagues. A supportive family environment conveys providing help and encouragement.
Yes.
Supposedly implies doubt.
Often, yes. Adverb meaning according to what is generally assumed or believed, allegedly.
Yeah.
Used when you're reporting something that might not be true.
Supposedly the meeting is canceled. He was supposedly seen leaving the country indicates a claim or belief, not necessarily a fact.
Right.
Introduces that element of uncertainty.
Suppress.
Verb, forcibly put an end to something. Suppressing a rebellion, or prevent the development, action, or expression of feeling, impulse, or idea. Restrain.
Suppressing a smile, suppressing evidence, holding something back, preventing it from emerging.
Yes.
Supreme.
Adjective meaning highest in rank or authority. The Supreme Court. Or of the highest quality or degree. Supreme confidence. Signifies the very top level. That's it, the ultimate.
Surge.
Noun. A sudden powerful forward or upward movement, especially by a crowd or by a natural force such as waves or tide, or a sudden large increase. A power surge, a surge in interest. Verbs to move suddenly and powerfully forward or upward, or increase suddenly.
The crowd surged towards the stage, a sudden surge in online orders, sudden upward or forward movement or increase.
Exactly.
Surgical, relating to surgery.
Yes, relating to or used in surgery. A surgical procedure, also used metaphorically to mean very precise or accurate.
Surgical precision in carrying out a plan. Medical context or extreme accuracy. Surplus.
Noun. An amount of something left over when requirements have been met. An excess of production or supply over demand. Adjectives means more than what is needed or used. Excess.
A budget surplus.
Yeah.
Selling off surplus stock. Having more than needed.
Right. The leftover amount.
Surrender.
Verb, stop resisting an enemy or opponent and submit to their authority. Give up can also be used figuratively.
The army surrendered. Surrendering to temptation, ceasing resistance, giving in,
Yes.
surveillance.
Close observation, especially of a suspected spy or criminal. Monitoring.
Under police surveillance, video surveillance cameras, watching closely, monitoring, suspension.
The action of suspending someone or something, or the condition of being suspended, temporary stopping, suspension of disbelief, suspension from school.
Okay, temporary halt. Any other meaning?
Yes, in chemistry, a mixture in which particles are dispersed throughout the bulk of a fluid, like muddy water. So temporary stopping or a physical mixture.
Got it. Suspicion.
Noun. A feeling or thought that something is possible, likely, or true, especially something bad. Doubt or mistrust.
Acting out of suspicion, his behavior aroused suspicion. That feeling of doubt or mistrust.
Right.
Like suspicious, just the adjective.
Yes, having or showing a cautious distrust of someone or something, or causing suspicion, seeming dishonest or dangerous.
Suspicious package.
Yeah.
He gave me a suspicious look, causing that feeling of mistrust.
Exactly.
Sustain.
Verb, strengthen or support physically or mentally. Food sustains life. Also means to undergo or suffer something unpleasant, especially an injury. Sustaining heavy losses. Maintain or undergo, keeping something going or suffering something.
Right. Swing, noun and verb.
Verb, move back and forth or from side to side while suspended or on an axis. Swinging on a swing set, or change one's opinion or mood. His mood swings wildly. Noun is that movement or change, a swing in the pulse.
Back and forth movement or sudden change. Okay.
Sword, a weapon with a long metal blade and a hilt with a handguard. Also used symbolically to represent military power or conflict.
A samurai sword. The phrase, the pen is mightier than the sword. Literal weapon and symbol.
Yes.
Symbolic.
Serving is a symbol, representing something else by association or convention.
A symbolic gesture of peace. The dove is symbolic of peace, standing for a larger idea.
Exactly.
Syndrome.
A group of symptoms which consistently occur together, or a condition characterized by a set of associated symptoms.
Down syndrome, irritable bowel syndrome, that recognizable pattern of symptoms. Synthesis.
The combination of components or elements to form a connected whole, combining different ideas, influences, or objects.
A synthesis of Eastern and Western philosophies. Chemical synthesis.
Right.
Bringing different parts together into a whole.
Right. Creating something new from different elements.
Okay, our final word for this deep dive. Systematic.
Adjective meaning done or acting according to a fixed plan or system. Methodical. Organized.
A systematic search of the area. Systematic errors in the data. Doing things in an organized, planned, methodical way, not random.
Precisely. Orderly and planned.
Wow, we've covered a huge amount there. That was quite a journey through just a selection of C1 vocabulary, starting with S.
It certainly was. Hopefully listening to this gives you a much clearer understanding of these words, not just the meaning, but how they actually work in context.
Yeah, and maybe helps you use them with a bit more confidence. Remember, building your vocabulary, especially at this level, it's an ongoing process.
Absolutely. Every new word you really understand and can use is definitely a step forward in your English language journey.
So to keep expanding your English skills, please do like this video, share it with anyone else who might find it useful, and subscribe to the Learn English Lab YouTube channel.
We'll have more deep dives into the fascinating world of English vocabulary and language learning coming your way. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, everyone.